What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is New York producer, rapper, and writer Radicule. We spoke about anime, specifically Chainsaw Man, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, and Cowboy Bebop, the Banshees of Inisherin and the work of Colin Farrell, Undercover Brother, a Goofy movie, Smack DVD, his producer newsletter Thoughts Beyond The DAW, similarities between music and journalism, and the creative process behind his S-Rank Slaps beat tape series. Come fuck with us. There we go.
Oh, you could.
What's it called? I just finished Chainsaw Man. I want to
Ooh.
say, damn, when did I finish Chainsaw Man? It must have been like, I think it was either Sunday or Monday. I think it might have been Monday. No. I lied. It was Sunday. I finished it on Sunday. So yeah, I'm finally caught up on that, and I know the manga's a little bit further ahead than the anime because it's not like, it's not like One Piece where there's like 1,000 chapters. It's just
Yep.
it's I don't even know how many chapters there are, but I know that I'm not that far behind. So I really might just fuck around and just like pick the manga up. Honestly, it's been a while since something's made me want to do it that bad, but I fuck with Chainsaw Man. How'd you like it?
Chainsaw Man, just beautiful. My homie Evan, he was the one who put me onto it, and he was just like, yo, like, you gotta read this shit, like, you gotta start like reading it too. And like, I fucked with it so hard. Like, honestly, like, the voice cast they got for both the sub and the dub bodied it. Like, I was just like, okay, like, I fuck with what they doing for this. And like, yeah, bro, I just thought it was super, like, I just thought it was so dope. Like, the way that it was just kind of like very blunt. It was just like, yeah, like literally, I felt like the approach to it was kind of like Cameron in fucking Paid in Full. Like, niggas die every day, B. That's legit.
You tough, right?
Like, that's legit. Yo, that was the energy I got from the series, like, already. So I was just like, nah, I definitely got to read it. Because even like looking online and seeing like, you see the little spoilers here and there for shit. Like, even people being like, who's gonna tell him like what happens? Like, who's gonna tell my man what's like going down?
Yeah,
it's fire, bro. And my man Denji is just doing it. He doing it for the ladies. That's it. Like, I respect
it. Yeah, no, you and me both. Like, it was so much fun watching him in Power train with I can't remember the guy's name, but he really whipped them motherfuckers into shape in a crazy way. And then like at the very end in episode 12, like Denji and Power, like like Denji managed to fuck Katana Man up and slice him in half on the subway, and Power was going crazy on the fucking undead. Like, yeah, like you could tell like they grew, it was tight to see them grow so fast.
Bro, they had their training arc, bro. They had that training arc moment where it's just like, y'all think y'all tough, but wait till you meet Mans who's like, I've been around the block. Let me show you something, young blood.
No, my favorite was when they tried to ambush him in his apartment, and what's it called? Denji just jumped down and he just said, nope. Here's what you did wrong. This, and this. So I was like, nah, come on.
Like, and the thing was, the fact that my man's was basically like really like bringing motherfuckers to the brink of death or like killing them, and then just like, all right, I'm gonna just kill you off. We gonna get you back into like fighting form, and we just gonna continue this cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
was nuts, bro.
He just fucking breaks the blood pack open like it's some smelling salts. Like, yeah, get your ass up. Like, you're good. Like,
it's like, hit him with it.
Yeah, for real. I love it, man. It was like, because I had been seeing it around, and then I was like, you know what? I got to start this. I just like, I needed to make the time, and I started it. Me and my lady started it. My girl just got into anime over the course of the last year. I've been slowly trying to like throw a couple things her way, and be like, you might like this, maybe you'll like this. And then they found what was the one that did it? We were watching something, and then like I come back and it's like, they're already like, okay, I got like 5 or 6 more romance ones I'm trying to watch right now. They have a whole list of shit that like it's starting to get to like the cataloging point, and I'm like, all it takes is you just need that one. You need that one, and
Yo, that's
you
it,
know.
bro. All you need is that like joint that like cracks the seal, bro. And like
Mm-hmm.
people will naturally kind of gravitate towards that. I love that shit, man.
Yeah, me
It's like
too.
bringing someone to the dark side. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
which is funny too, because like a lot of people don't realize that like people will look at like the most popular anime at the time, like you know you'll look at something like a One Piece or a Dragon Ball or a Naruto or like something like I don't know, just yeah, just like any shonen you could pick, and people just
Mhm.
look at that and it's like, oh, that's the only anime there is, like all anime is trash, and it's like, and then people start to realize that, you know, like there's like slice of life anime, there's sports anime, there's
Mhm.
romance anime, there's drama anime, there's historical fiction anime, like there's anime that takes itself deathly seriously, there's anime that doesn't take itself seriously at all. It comes in every genre, every shape and size, every kind of protagonist you could imagine, sexy, not sexy, you name it, it's there. And like once you find the one that gets you in, it's, you know, it's really just like it's over, you know.
Yeah,
Like
dog, nah, you and that's the thing, like it's getting people to see like there's a variety and there's a little bit of something for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like I never really watched like even like sports like anime or anything like that. And then my boy put me on to Haikyuu, the volleyball shit. And
yeah. Shit's
and
crazy.
dog, I was like, yo, like I was like, damn, I might pull up to some volleyball games now. Like this shit like look hella fucking dope. Like shit is
Nah,
nuts,
man.
bro.
Haikyuu is great. And there was one that a bunch of my homies in college used to love. I don't remember what it was called, but the whole thing was about like grown ass men going to gambling tournaments and just like and they're like in suits and just like they either win big or they lose big, and it's about how their lives like blow up or fucking peter out based on like their gambling winnings. I wish I could remember what it was called, but I watched like an episode of that, and it's like the most it's like so serious. It's like so over the top fucking like solemn serious that it
Yep.
makes me laugh. And then you compare that to something like Kakegururi on Netflix, where it's like all the kids in the fucking there's like a school specifically for gambling, and like they're all playing like Texas Hold'em and like every other kind of, you know, like it's just those two. I don't know. There's just like 80 different variations on the same thing. And like if you look hard enough, you'll find
Yep.
something you like. Like everybody listening, if you look hard enough, you'll find the anime you like. I promise. I promise. I promise.
Nah, bro, on everything. Like honestly, like you not even wrong. Like that's how I felt about fucking Food Wars. Like they got like I mean that shit is out of pocket. That shit is hella out of
Yeah.
pocket.
That was no that was the one I showed that was the one I showed my lady. Like we watched Food
Let's
Wars and
go.
that was it. Yeah, yeah. Food Wars was the one.
Let's go, bro. That shit, like, cause I ain't gonna lie. When they be eating something that's smacking and like they like the clothes come off and shit, I'm like, that's really kind of the experience in my brain. Like when you eat something that's fire, like it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh damn, like they encapsulate it perfectly.
Right. They literalized it in a cool way. Also, that's the show that taught me what umami was. Like I'd heard people talk about it, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize that umami was like an actual flavor, like made from mushrooms and shit. And now I have
Mm-hmm.
fucking umami in my cabinets type shit. Like that's just how it works. I put that shit
Yo,
on
see,
eggs. That shit is
bruh,
crazy.
listen, anime gang shit, bro. They say you can't learn
Yeah.
nothing from anime. You can learn a whole lot of shit from anime, bro. For real.
Come on, man. Yeah, no, they have no idea. um, but yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. We're already at it. It doesn't always happen like this, even though I feel like it should sometimes, and I just get self-conscious. But we're here. We're already into it. Dylan CineMasai, got a lot of names, do a lot of shit, run around like oh man, fuck City Escape Sonic. I fucked the joke up. I'm here, we run around, and I'm with somebody else who also is here and runs around and does a lot of things and puts on for so many good people. Man's a producer, a fucking you a DJ? I feel like you're a DJ, right?
I
Sometimes.
don't be claiming the DJ title too much because I got homies that really is like lethal with the shit. I like
Got it.
dabble and do my own little personal mixes and shit, but like I'm a personal at home DJ.
All right. So a personal at home DJ. He's a writer. He has a newsletter that I don't think he's updated in a while, but we're gonna talk about that. And a game, an anime aficionado, just a all around great fucking soul. We got Radicule, Jersey's finest, in the fucking building. All sorts of shit. This one's been a long time coming. So man, I mean, like you already know what it is. Thank you for being here, bro. It means the world,
Hey,
honestly.
bro, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, bro. That intro, bro, you give a hell of an intro, man. I do gotta say, I will say I would like to claim I'm like Jersey affiliated. You know, I'm New York original and based, but
Okay.
no. I mean, like, bro, I got so much love for Jersey. Like most of my best friends come from there. I'm usually down there in Jersey City like all the fucking time. So like
Okay. I
I
I thought you were from Jersey. That's my fault then.
Oh, nah, bro. You're good. Honestly, I take that as a huge compliment, bro. Like Jersey got shit popping right now. And like there's a lot of motherfuckers. Like I try to tell people I try to lead people like that are like lost souls almost that kind of just like, they continue the Jersey, like it stinks or whatever. Like I'm like, bruh, no, like there's motherfuckers. I too was lost once, but I've been found. Like Jersey got cool motherfuckers and a lot of dope shit going on. Like stop hating on Jersey. I love to all
Right,
my Jersey
man.
people, bro.
We got too much going on down in Jersey. Like to the point where people don't like I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who don't realize that Just Blaze is from Jersey. Like everyone assumes he's from New York. I think I talked about it on here before, but like he's from Patterson. He's from like around the way from me. Like
That's not,
like
bro. And it's just that's like that cool history. One thing, bro, I realized like mad like watching mad like wrestling documentaries and shit. There are mad wrestlers that like came from Jersey or like got their start in Jersey. Like
no
fucking
way.
dudes like yeah, bro, like dudes like there are old dudes that wrestled for like ECW and shit. I want to say like Bam Bam Bigelow was from Jersey. I want to say fucking Chris Candido was from Jersey. Just mad dudes that were from like ECW and shit, like just the old hardcore wrestling like started there. And like bro, like I'm pretty sure this more recent dude, Nick Gage, I think he's from Jersey too. And like
Mhm.
so there's a lot of rich cultural history lessons that lie and gems that lie in Jersey. So man,
Yeah.
I love y'all to death. Y'all got some motherfucking hitters, boy.
We breed champions. We breed champions out here.
Yo, facts.
Yeah. Yeah. But nah, man, I'm happy you're here. This is gonna be fun. I can already tell. So yeah, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on. Last TV show or movie you watched that you had a strong opinion about.
Damn. So I could only pick one, right? Like I could only pick like one thing.
You could pick a couple if you want. It's up to you. Like whatever really grabs you.
Okay, so I'm a pick two. So there was one that I watched recently called the Banshees of Inisherin. I
Shit,
hope
I've
I
been meaning to watch it,
yeah.
bro. I'm so mad I haven't seen it yet.
Yo,
I've been dragging
I,
my feet.
bro, I'm not gonna spoil it. That shit was fucking gas, bro. Like I never really dove into a lot of like I want to say Colin Farrell, like his kind of catalog. So like I definitely feel like I need to like go back and watch some of his shit because him and that was just like phenomenal. It's literally just like about like two friends that have like a falling out, but they show you like all the like crazy shit that kind of happens between them like in trying to find like a road back to being friends again or like at least
Hmm.
a one-sided kind of friendship. um, that shit was fucking fire. And there was this documentary I peeped on Netflix called The Pez Outlaw. And bruh,
Meaning to watch that too. I'm so mad.
yo, nah, you that bro, that just means you got a dope ass watch list. Like that shit, like, dude, it literally is about this dude that basically was like going overseas to like Europe and getting these like super like these unreleased like only Europe based Pez dispensers and flying back to the States and like flipping them joints. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is crazy. And how like he had a whole how because of that he started a whole vendetta with like the CEO of the USA branch of Pez and like how they had beef. Like it was
Damn.
wild. It's wild, bro. It's definitely a watch I'd recommend, bro. Yeah, you
Damn.
def
That
gotta
sounds
peep it.
That sounds amazing. Cause over the course of the last like 5-6 months, I saw the HBO Max has a documentary about the Beanie Baby craze and like how like the resale on those went crazy. And I started
Yep.
the first episode of the Pepsi Jet shit on Netflix too, which I don't know if you
Oh,
heard about.
word?
So yeah, like, it's this whole story about back in the day they used to do like, you know how like My Coke Rewards was a thing where you like drink the soda and you get the points and get the cool shit. So like Pepsi
Hmm.
had one of those too, and they put out a fake commercial, or not a fake commercial, but they put out a commercial like very clearly fakely like falsely claiming like if you send us 7 million points, we'll give you a Harrier jet. And then this one kid was like, "Word." Like you want it's so like he met up with this other guy, this like investor or something, and the two of them decided to figure out how much Pepsi they would need to buy in order to get 7 million points and actually get the Harrier jet. So like they get enough they get enough points somehow. I've only seen the first part, but they get enough points somehow, and they go to the PepsiCo like, yo, where's my Harrier jet? Like, and
Yo,
it's a whole story. So like I started that. It's called I think it's called Pepsi Where's My Jet, and it's on Netflix. So if you like the Pez shit, go watch that because it's fun so far.
yo. I'm a peep because that sounds wild, and it's crazy because I've definitely like when you let the shit like go idle and then it starts to show you the little like clips and stills for like all the other
Uh-huh.
shit. I've definitely seen that shit. I've definitely seen it pop up, and I was like, hmm, that's interesting. And I didn't even know. I thought it was like I thought it was some other company. I didn't think it was like the actual like Pepsi soda brand like company. Like
Yeah.
that's nuts, bro. I gotta peep that.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm liking it so far. I might actually finish it later if I got the time. But before we move on, I didn't want to skate over Colin Farrell because like
Yep.
he's been I mean I don't know if I'd consider him one of my favorite actors, but he's a great actor, bro. Like between like the first thing I always think of is him as Bullseye and Daredevil, which he's like
Yeah, bro.
him and Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin were always amazing to me. They like they felt like they came out of the comics, like in a way that
Oh yeah.
in a way that Daredevil and Elektra just didn't. But like but like there's this other joint he put out in 2002. I don't know if you saw it, called Phone Booth. You ever hear of Phone Booth before?
Wait. Is that the joint where he's like in the booth and like there's some like dude like a sniper like aiming at him because he was
Yeah.
trying to get him to tell the truth of like his shit that he was doing on the side. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I did peep that. That shit was gas, bro.
Movie's wild.
Yo, shout out that man. Cause see, like, I be watching shit and I be forgetting who's like in it. And then I'm like, oh, he's in that. Oh, of course I was gonna love his new shit. Like, of
Yeah.
course. Like,
And like I love I'm big on movies that make the most out of like one location. I
mhm,
love it when movies do stuff like that. So like it's like I mean like they cheat a little bit, like it doesn't take place entirely inside the phone booth, but
mhm,
like it takes place mostly inside. He's stuck in it. They like go to a couple other places, but I don't know. I like that theatrical type shit as long as it's not like corny. Like like The Whale was not the best.
mhm.
Brendan Fraser is great in it. The rest is ugh, it's a lot. But Colin Farrell's, I'm trying to think of all the other shit he's done, because like there's like Phone Booth,
Mhm.
there's Daredevil, he's done so much shit. He's worked with the guy who directed Banshees is a guy named Martin McDonough. I'm a big fan of his.
Oh, word.
They made this other movie called In Bruges that takes place in Ireland. Fucking nuts, so good. They made another one called Seven Scoundrels. That's like I haven't seen it since it first came out, but I remember really jacking Seven Scoundrels. And
Mhm.
Colin Farrell's just been in, like he's been in like big movies, he's been in small movies. He's just one of those actors who can really do it all. You ever see Fright Night? They remade the vampire movie Fright Night, and he's the vampire in it.
Oh shit. Nah, I did not peep that. Bro,
Yeah.
you get
Fright Night's cool as hell too. David Tennant, the guy who played the guy who was the 10th Doctor Who, is in it. And
mhm.
Anton Yelchin, the dude who passed away some years back, he's in it too. He's the kid.
Oh,
The kid, he's a fucking grown man, but he's a kid in the movie.
mhm.
But yeah, nah, I'm rambling. But Colin Farrell's dope. He's just got that like he can play big and campy. He can do kind of like
Yep.
subdued. He's almost like a character actor. He's like the most I feel like he's the most famous is the wrong word. I feel like he's the most like I guess famous character
Hmm.
actor. Like he's like a character actor who's like larger than life. It's so weird to describe,
Yeah.
but I love everything he does.
I
He's
mean, nah, bro. He like I could honestly kind of tell that like even like not even like peeping like at least a whole lot of his like catalog. Like I'm pretty sure he played Penguin in the new Batman joint,
Yep,
right?
and he was
That was
Penguin in the
him.
new Batman. Yep.
Yo, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not gonna lie. The clip of him where he's hemmed up by like Batman and Commissioner Gordon, and he's just like, "Come on, why would you show me that?" I was like, "Yo, that had me rolling in the theater, bro. I was
Right.
dying off that." So,
Yeah,
nah, I
nah.
could tell my man's really he got that shit on though. He got that shit on.
That and right after when they're like trying to figure out what like the bat with wings shit means, and he's like what, like y'all don't know your Spanish, like come on, like he was going in. He might have been my favorite part of the Batman, honestly, or maybe
Nah,
my second favorite part.
bro, he stood out. Like I give that man all his flowers. Now I know I was literally sitting here like with like a shoddy little like pen and like writing out all the films you were naming, bro. I was just like, wait, write that down, write that down. That nah. I'm a dive in, bro.
Nah, man, you gotta. So now let's run it all the way back with you and check your whole experience. So like, what's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house, wherever. Doesn't matter. The first thing that pops into your mind.
Man, I so for me it was back all the way when I was a kid, like living in Co-op City in the Bronx. When I want to say I was like 6 or 7 years old. And so what we would do is like it would be me, my brother, and my mom and my dad. And sometimes we do these like camp out nights. Like it was in an apartment, so like we didn't have woods or nature or whatever. But like we would
Right.
legit get like sleeping bags and get like snacks and stuff like that. And we just like turn the lights off, put on a candle or something and watch a movie together. And I remember two flicks that really just like resonated and just stuck with me. One was Lion King. That's like my go-to. Like that's one of my
Classic.
like bruh. It's like that's my childhood right there. That was my
Yeah.
favorite like Disney movie as a kid. And Goofy movie. Cause my brother used to run that nonstop. And like so both you just I heard the maniacal laugh there, bro. You know it's good. Like, yeah, bro. So yeah, I just remember that because like we were like in my household, we were just like a big like movie family. So like aunts, uncles, like whether we were going to, at my aunt's crib, I don't even know if they still have it, but they had like the black binder with the plastic sleeves with all the
Mm.
DVDs, and you got the
Oh.
yep, you got the official joints, and then there's some that are a little bit bootleg that you get from the security guard in the lobby. So you
Yeah,
know,
or yeah, from
yep,
the $5 bin at the fucking corner store. Yeah, no, I get it.
yeah,
My aunt
bro.
came through with a couple of those. My dad's come back with a couple of those. It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you got some that'll be a hit. Like, all right, the quality's kind of decent on this one, and then you got some that is just like, all right, nah, we just gotta. That's just the L that we took. But yeah, nah,
Right.
definitely as a kid, like with my mom, my brother, and my dad, like just having those like camp out nights and watching like Lion King and like Goofy movie for sure.
Hmm. Man, I mean, like, that's crazy because Lion King was my first movie experience too. I saw it when I was 4 years old at the Allwood Cinema in Jersey.
Hey, okay.
I like vaguely remember it. It might just be because my dad's told me the story so many times, but but yeah, like that was I feel like that's a staple for pretty much anybody who was born around like like if you were born somewhere from like 87 to like 95. No, wait, what year was the Lion King? Was 96. So like if you were like alive and conscious in 1996 or like really any time before the year 2000, you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
But a Goofy movie, I don't think we talked about it on here yet, so I'm happy we could finally do that.
Hey,
I'm assuming you seen the fucking the goof who sat by the door Atlanta shit, right?
yes, bro.
Yeah,
Yo,
like
bro, I was just like, yo, it was a full circle moment. Like it literally was just kind of like it tapped in with me on an adult level of just understanding like the comedic genius behind the episode, but also
yeah,
like just like the childhood like connection of just like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost this unspoken thing. It was just kind of like, yeah, Goofy movie, like it feels like a black movie. Like I can't
yeah,
explain it. Like it's like but yes, bro, I that episode resonated with me so fucking strongly, bro. Like
yeah. Yeah, nah, me too. I feel like it's so funny because they kind of like they kind of walk the tightrope between like appreciating and loving on the movie, but also kind of like also like very very lightly making like poking fun at people who were like this is a black movie and it's just like what does that
mm-hmm.
mean, but like
Yeah.
nah, like it's just like it's there, you know, like you could tell, you know, like and like it really could just be something as simple as like oh they got Tevin Campbell to do the music and that made it black, who knows, but like but yeah, but you know, like it's just like the same thing of like why do we consider Piccolo black? Like why do some people consider Bugs Bunny to be
Yo,
black? You
that,
know, like that type of shit. Like Darwin from Gumball too. Like why do people consider him black? You know, like it's just there. Like I you know like
it's yep.
it's just a feeling. I don't know. It's just a feeling.
Nah, bro, nah, for real. Like it really is like that's so crazy. You know what? I never heard about Bugs Bunny being part of the black delegation. I got like I knew Piccolo, like Piccolo and Darren from
Yeah.
Gumball for sure. Like I've heard that, but that's interesting. Like I gotta okay. I literally want to do like a poll of like what would be like the roster, like what would be like the who would be like starting five, and then who would be like coming off the bench as far as like anime, and like cartoon characters that were like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they may not physically be black, but we know. Like there's a
Yeah.
deeper underlying feeling.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the Bugs Bunny one's a little sad because like his whole character's based off of fucking like minstrelsy and like black stereotypes. Like from like
Yeah.
his foundation. I have this whole book about it that I've been reading. It's like about like the fucking like history of blackface and minstrelsy and animation. It's really
Oh
depressing.
shit.
But but yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting. It's just really depressing. But like, you know, like you know, you could say that about Bugs Bunny. You could say that about Mickey Mouse too. Like the
Yeah.
history runs really, really deep. But at the same and you know, like the episode kind of gets into it with Goofy too, because like that like dissertation thing that they read that the guy Iwerks, I think his name was, wrote
Mm-hmm.
like that was like literally verbatim a thing he wrote like about Goofy. Like it played
Oh shit.
like that's one of the only things in the episode that isn't a joke. Like they pulled that straight from the archives. So like he was yeah. That's real. Um
That's nuts, bro. Wow. Holy. Nah, I might have to after this. I'm gonna have to have you slide me the name of that book that you got that shows the
mhm.
history too, because that's a like you said. I know it's fucked up, but like the concept behind it and like the fact that someone like took the time to really like dive in that deep with like animation I mean we know animation from certain time periods was they was getting that shit off like it was just a hello. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so there's some, I've showed people some crazy shit. I'm like, yeah, like Looney Tunes has some racist ass shit in it like a minute ago. Like, so it's crazy though. It's crazy to see that history in comparison to like where we're at now with everything too.
Totally. But you know, like a Goofy movie is something that's like nice and pure and cute and just like
Mm-hmm.
real wholesome. I mean like the Tevin Campbell songs are all great. We all know that. It's like I rewatched it again. Maybe I think I rewatched it like 3 or 4 months before that episode came out, like not knowing it was
Mm,
coming. And I was like, I just want to watch the movie again. And you know, like
yeah.
it's cute, you know, like it's nothing. It's like it really is a comfort movie for me in a lot of ways because I was a big
Yeah.
Goofy fan growing up. But like I just it's just a cute movie, you know, like it's nothing
Yeah,
like
bro.
super serious outside of like, yeah, like Goofy's fucking raising Max and being a good dad and trying to figure out what that means. And, you know, like Max is figuring out that his dad's not as lame as he thought. Like it's, you know, it's just like cute shit.
Yeah,
It's nothing like super, it's not like revolutionary, but it's a cute, fun movie that I love to watch.
bro.
So
Nah, for real. It really is. And I just wanted to jump in and like I actually wanted to ask you two quick things, if that's cool, bro.
yeah, please come on.
So I wanted to ask first, did you see the sequel for it? Like the
I
one that
used
was
to
like extremely.
I owned it. Yeah, the X Game shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to have the DVD.
Hey, okay, all right. I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on it? Because I low key fucked with it. I like that as a sequel, but I know some people it's kind of like a mixed like bag in terms of
Mm.
like the sequel. What were your thoughts on it?
So I like it. It's I haven't seen it in probably almost 20 years at this point,
Mm,
but I loved it when it came out. Like I wore it. I had it on DVD. I was gonna say I didn't wear the tape out. I had the DVD, but I but like I enjoyed it for what it was. It had cute music, cool story, but like I definitely liked it less than the first one. But
I feel that.
but like I said, I haven't seen it in enough time. I haven't seen it in enough time to really like I couldn't tell you exactly how I feel about it now. It's literally been 2 decades since I watched it. The most recent I thought about it was I was watching this other video about the history of like Disney DVD stuff and like Disney
Mm,
on home video and like how they like formatted it and how they put out the tapes and how they would like re-release shit through video and then DVD and fucking like all that shit. And
yeah.
somebody mentioned because there's like a whole bunch of different factions of like the Disney home video shit. There's like Disney DVD, there's like Disney Toon Productions, and there's like eight
Mm,
different things that all mean it's weird. But I was watching and I noticed that like they showed clips from an extremely goofy movie, and I'm like, damn, this animation's kind of ass. It like looks kind of terrible, like especially compared to the first movie. Like you know, like just like
yeah.
things look less detailed. They don't move as fluidly, and like you could tell they had a lot less bread to spend on like actually making the movie look good. So I'm
hmm
interested to really dive in and like watch it again and see if like the story holds up. But you know, like but yeah, that's my way of saying I haven't seen it in a long enough time to
Mm,
have an opinion on it because like I
okay.
remember it in like bits and pieces. But I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it when I was a kid. So you know, I guess that's my answer.
Hey, okay. Nah, I mean, I like because legit, I had like it was almost just like a brain blast moment that I just had like thinking about the original. Because then I was just like, oh, wait a minute, I do remember that there was a sequel to it, and like having watched that, like, and I think that was like a straight to that was one of those like I think like straight to VHS or like straight to DVD ones. Like they were like, we not going we not going through theater releases for this. It's like the same shit that they did with Lion King. It was like, all right, we
Yeah.
know the original. That's all we need. We don't need no else. We don't need nothing else.
Yeah, but you know, like I was like really big into the X Games and shit like that as a kid. So, or
Hmm.
like not really big, but like big enough to want to watch the movie specifically because it was about the X Games. So,
Hmm.
like, you know, it was cool for what it was. It was
Yeah,
cool
no,
for what it
man.
was.
Nah, X Games was popping at one point. And that shit, like you
Yeah,
said, it was cool. It was cool in that moment of time, like specifically in that kind of time zone when they dropped it.
yeah, yeah. No, because that was like early to mid 2000s. I forget the exact year. It might have been like '01 or '02. I can't
Hmm.
remember exactly. I'll look it up later. But yeah, nah, like I don't remember it well enough to have like a solid opinion about it.
No, I got
um,
you, bro.
but like as you got older,
Mhm.
was there a movie that you watched that kind of stopped you in your tracks and really like touched you in a way that movies had never really like done that for you before? Like not even so much in an artful way, but just in like a wow, like this is a movie. Like this is more than just entertainment type shit.
Hmm. Damn, man. Oof, damn. Like, I thought I had this shit. I was just like, so I'm like, I'm trying to prepare for these questions. And I'm just like, as they come at me, I'm like, damn, now I'm stumped, bro. I would definitely, you know what? I would say like it must have been, I think I can't remember how old I was. I know I was young, and like my piece, like shout out to my mom's because she used to let me like watch shit and then kind of just be like, he's going to be exposed to this at some point, so I might as well like let him watch it and like explain and break shit down to him. Some people probably may laugh at me, but I'm gonna say Undercover Brother. Like
Hey,
with
what a good ass movie. Yeah.
like that shit, bro. Like that film, like I just remember like learning, like that was one of those movies where it was like I learned like the lines like scene by scene. Like I was holding on to everything from it, and like literally then you just kind of go and impersonate it with people, and like you're dropping lines all over the place, and like that was a big one for me. Like just the concept of it, the writing for it, just the fucking shit, the and I rewatched it when I was older, and then I could obviously get a lot more of the jokes and a lot more of the writing for it. But when my man's brought out the goggles and they were just like Caucasian vision,
Caucasian
it's
vision.
like, yo, I lost
Fucking
it, bro. Like,
Leave It to Beaver and Riverdance. Yeah.
yo, and he had the time, he had the rolly with the hot sauce in it, like that.
Yeah.
It,
One
nah,
blast should
bro,
be enough to make Caucasian food edible. Yeah.
bro,
So,
it was just like so such like off the wall type shit, but it was just like so clever in the way that it was executed. So like
mhm.
I like that was the I think yeah, that was definitely the movie that made me really sit and like appreciate and pay attention to like not only like the writing for a script, but also like the chemistry between actors and the chemistry between like, what's going on behind the scenes, like in the background of movies, films, and television shows. But also like really paying attention to, the storyline at least, and really like understanding like, oh wow, okay, like there's a pretty nuanced kind of plot here that's running too. So yeah, man, that was definitely the first movie that kind of just got me like hooked as far as like, all right, like I'm tapped in with like film and cinema and understanding that type of shit.
Right. And then it goes even further than that because, like, of course, for everybody who's seen it and everybody who hasn't seen it, the whole thing's a satire of fucking 70s black exploitation. Like fucking
Mm-hmm.
like the whole like the whole main joke is that Undercover Brother's a character who's like unstuck in time. He's like this like modern dude, but he dresses like it's the 70s. He's got the fucking like leather medallion with the black power fist on it. He's got the fro and he wears the fucking he wears the fucking like colorful like cheetah print threads all the time and
Yep.
fucking talks like goddamn Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon and like all this shit, like it's like so yeah, like I like like I didn't realize like I had like a superficial understanding of like
Mm-hmm.
those black exploitation type things, but mostly because like my dad and my parents explained to me kind of what was going on. But I
Mm-hmm.
like fully appreciated it when I watched the movie again, like 10 years later when I was in college. Cause like, yeah, cause like that was a movie like my sister and I would watch that over the summer. We would like throw that on. We had like TiVo and shit. And we would just put that and like watch it on repeat
Hey,
like every fucking summer. That was one of those, like, and
yeah,
it was just like, that movie is so special and so like it's just like really funny and like just as smart as it needs to be and like not too like not too it doesn't like beat it. I mean, like it does kind of beat you over the head with it, but in like a fun,
mm-hmm.
approachable way that doesn't feel like pretentious or corny. And then like that prepared me for Black Dynamite, which I saw maybe about 5, 6 years
Yep.
after that. And like that was, I think that probably is my favorite movie of all time. Like if I had to, like,
Bro,
j- just like in terms of shit that I like love and like will watch over and over again. And like I have every line, every fucking like I have every shot of that movie memorized. Like I could recite the whole thing right now. I've seen Black Dynamite fucking like 80 million times. Like
bro, and like what's that fucking phenomenal movie, bro? Like, and I mean that shit. I would say Black Dynamite, I think, is what pivoted me to like getting into looking at the catalog of Michael J. White, because like I was just
yeah.
like, and then I learned, I was like, oh nah, he really does like this martial arts like kung fu shit. Like he really is about it. And it's crazy because like the other night I just rewatched this joint. I think it's called Blood and Bone, with him as like the main
Mm.
character, and he's just like he's pretty much, yeah, like just this like underground street fighter, like basically, and it's just like thousand motherfuckers left and right. Like he literally, I would say like, yo, like Michael J. White, I'd honestly say is like the Black One Punch Man. Like basically in that movie. Like he basically is like the Black One Punch Man in that movie. And it's such a cool thing to watch. Like, uh, such a man, yo. Oh,
Yeah.
I did want to say too, as a kid, one other movie that I remember that like really stuck with me as far as like I guess like story and everything was, I forget the name of it, but the Pokemon joint where Ash gets turned to stone by
Oh,
Mewtwo.
the first movie. Yeah,
Yep,
the first
that
movie.
bro, that messed me up. I was crying like a baby. Like it was such an emotional moment in that movie, and like that, I remember I was like, I think that also fostered my love for like cartoon films and like animated films, and just being like, yo, like these shits also can hit on a totally different level, as much as if not more than even just like live action stuff. So I got to give props to that one too.
Yeah, man. People really sleep on the effect that cartoons can have on not even just kids, but on everybody. Like I don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
too deep with it, but like I've always kind of looked at animation and cartoons as just like they're all exaggerations of real life, and like through exaggeration you can like more often than not you can get it like the true essence of something by like exaggerating it and making people see it like you do type shit.
Yep.
And like that's part of the reason why I love cartoons and animation so much. Like whether it be like anime like Jojo's or Pokemon or just stuff like fucking like a Goofy movie, like there's just like
Mm-hmm.
these little, like if you like describe the way somebody's face looks, like you could describe it and somebody could like picture it in their head, but then you draw it out and it's like, oh, I get it. And then you like see that person's face and it's like, oh, I can see how you would get that from that. And it's just like the most like literal, it's just like our interpretation of how we see the world type shit. And it makes me
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like I said, I don't want to get too deep, but that's
Yeah,
kind of
you
how I
good,
see it.
bro. Nah, you're good, bro. Like honestly, like don't worry. I was taking us down that rabbit hole anyway, so you're fine.
Yo. But yeah, so like now that we did it with movies, let's do it with music. When did you when did music become more than just like a passive thing in your life, like something that you were like actively interested in? Like, oh, this is, like, oh, this is music, like not just some shit that's in the background, like this is music. Like when did that first happen for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had like I would say I had kind of like two pivotal moments, like and two pivotal times like in my life that like really was like where I was like, okay, like I get this. Because as a kid, like I always used to like hate loud noises, and really like I really wasn't like a big music head as like a kid, as like a youngin'. But there was one time where I was in the car, and I forget which song by him was playing, but DMX came on the radio.
Hmm.
And for some reason, a young like 7-year-old me was just like trying to rap every single word that man's was like saying. And it was just the energy and just like the aggression and the form of his expression. I was just like, oh, he's like saying some shit. Like, I don't know what the hell any of this probably means, but like it was like just me like really understanding the passion that can come with like music and making music. So RIP to GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the ones for real as a kid. And then the other time I was sitting and I think MTV was on, and I saw the music video for again, and some like combining like music and animation pretty much. Like I remember seeing the video for Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz,
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing like Del the Funky Homo Sapien rapping as this blue ghost, and like I was like, what is this? Like this is like nuts. Like so like I would say those were the two moments where I was just kind of like, yo, like, all right, music is like this is like dope. And I started becoming like an avid listener, obviously, way before I even started to really like sit and start to like make shit on my own.
Right, man. those are such good examples. Like
Yo,
Clint Eastwood is,
bro.
Clint Eastwood's just such an iconic song. I feel like a lot of people our age, that was our first exposure to Del the Funky. It was definitely my first exposure to
Yep.
Del. And I mean like DMX was everywhere by the time we were like 9, 10 years old. He had already what's it called? He had already done the Flesh of My Flesh. What were the two albums? Was it was Flesh I think it was Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My
Mhm.
Flesh came out a year apart.
Yep.
They both went platinum in like a week or some shit. And then like he was like I saw him in all the movies. I literally just watched Never Die Alone for the first time earlier this week. I don't know if you've seen it.
Word. I need to peep because I remember the one I peeped recently was the joint with I want to say who was in it. I want to say it was like Jet Li.
Yeah,
He
Cradle
was
to the
in it.
Grave.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the one I peeped like most recently, and I was like, this shit is he like it's just like seeing his films was just like they're just like these like hood action like gems almost, and not even like
Hmm.
hood in a sense, but just like these sort of interesting action gems with like, oh, and here's we got some DMX, you know what I'm saying? If you like him and you fuck with that, like it's just like a I don't know, it's like a nice gem to see him in like just anything like acting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. He wasn't the best actor. At least he's not in Never Die Alone because I thought Never Die Alone was not that great. It's
Mm.
fun to watch, definitely worth it's only like an hour and 20 minutes. There's worse ways to spend the night, but I was
Yeah.
like, this is I was like this is definitely a fucking gangster action movie from the year 2004, like
Yep, yeah.
but but let me not disparage DMX because he's one of my favorite rappers. You're we all know the classic songs. Fucking
Mhm.
like that run he was on was legendary. I kind of and it's crazy because like I kind of was introduced to X through I was introduced to him more through like his movie stuff and through like
Mhm.
a thing like Def Jam Vendetta, where he's like a boss character in that. And
Yes.
you're like beforehand, I'd heard Rough Riders Anthem and all that stuff, but like I'm like 10, 11 years old at this point. So like I'm not like actively like consuming all sorts of crazy shit just yet. But like
Yeah.
but like that was definitely my springboard where it was like, all right, let me go listen to It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Like, let me go
Mhm.
listen to Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. And, like I really just sat there like shit. Like this man really just, I don't know, man. He just sounds like yeah, like he like raps like a preacher, but not in like that like off-putting pretentious kind of way. He's just like very much like a let me tell my story and listen to me fucking
Yep.
like tear my heart out. Like it's really hard to not take someone like that super duper seriously or think it's funny. It depends on how
Yeah.
you look at it. But like I don't really think DMX is very funny, but I know people who did back in the day because people are tripping. But
Yep. Yeah.
yeah. Shout out to X. He was amazing. Rest in peace.
For real, bro. Nah, shout out to that man. And like you said, he had a vulnerability to it. It's like, it's someone kind of like rapping and doing their thing from a perspective of just like, listen, I know I am not perfect. I know I'm flawed. But it's like, aren't we all type shit? You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's dope, bro. And also like the kind of era of like the early 2000s, like action gangster movies and everything. Like you said, it's like a lot of them were very much like, all right, I ain't throwing this back on and rerunning this every single weekend. But
Right.
it is something where it has like a unique, like almost like a unique charm to it. Like it's just like, you're like, all right, this isn't the best form of media I've ever watched. But
Yeah.
but it's got a little bit of character. So nah, I feel you 100% on that, bro.
Yeah, nah, like I said, not everything needs to be art, like
Hmm.
sometimes shit can just be entertainment and it doesn't have to be anything more than that. Like, like I would, like I can think of several what's it called? No, like I would rather watch Never Die Alone over a lot of other movies that take themselves. I mean, this movie takes itself pretty seriously, but it's
Hmm.
like, but like like it's got like charms and quirks that something a little more polished might not. Like, and I'd
Right.
rather watch that than something like I can't think of an example right now, but like I just like I'm attracted to that type of stuff. Like it doesn't always have to be fucking, like it doesn't always have to be Banshees of Inisherin. It could
Hmm.
sometimes, sometimes you just want to watch like DMX run up a wall in Tim's and fucking run away from dogs. Like, like sometimes it's that simple. One
Bro,
of life's great
you
pleasures.
you yo, you not wrong, bro. You not wrong. It is definitely a gem for sure.
Yo, and before we move on to more of your music career, and like where you got started with that, I mean, yeah. So like as you're growing up and you have all this knowledge and experience with movies and music, was like when did you first consciously or rather was there ever a period of time where you consciously linked film and music together in your head as like two things that could complement each other? There's a
Oh
lot of ways you could take that
yeah.
question, but yeah.
Oh brother. Oh man. Yes. 100% yes. And it's I would say they're anime related to be real. So
Mm,
um and I think it's no surprise. A lot of people know I fuck with these two series like super duper heavy, but it was Cowboy Bebop and Samurai
mm-hmm.
Champloo. Those two, like, and like the intro for Samurai Champloo that Nujabes and Shingo 2 did, I was like, oh, this like the soundtrack just went with every episode and everything was just like I was like, oh shit, like this is like both of these are forms of media where like the soundtracks and the actual visual presentation like mesh like so well together. And there have been like some I would say like video game, style ones too as well. But for more like actual media like film and television, definitely those two. Those two like completely changed my worldview.
Yeah, me too. Like those were both head bust moments for me. Like just in the
Mm-hmm.
sense of like Nujabes and fucking Fat John and Forces of Nature, all the shit they did for
Mm-hmm.
Samurai Champloo was like I had never really seen that. I don't really think anybody had ever seen that done in an anime context before, but like being able to see those two things happen at the same time really solidified my love for the shit in a way
Yep.
that I mean, like I had liked it already, but when I realized those two things really went together, I was like, oh yeah, it's a wrap. And Bebop is like Bebop is the same way because it's the Seatbelts Jazz album, like and just
Yep.
like the way like the way that the Seatbelts' music brings Bebop to life. One of my favorite moments in anime history is in the third episode when they meet why can't I remember the woman's name from Cowboy Bebop? What the fuck is her name? God
Oh,
damn.
Faye?
Yeah, Faye. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, Faye Valentine. There we go. So
Yep.
yeah, like when they first meet Faye and they're trying to rob the casino,
Yeah.
and the fucking song is playing, and then like Faye and Spike, like Spike's in his suit on the boat, on top of the ship, and like Faye's in the thing, and like they look at each other and have like a cute little flirty moment. That shit is
Yep.
cinema to me, bro. And like the fucking like and, like the fucking sax and the horns. I'm just like, yo, this shit is so beautiful. Like that shit sends chills up my spine to this day. I see it and I'm like,
Yo.
that's how you do that. Yeah.
bro, you not even lying. Cause now that you brought that up, like that episode is hands down like one of my favorite. Like that's one that I'll like when I want like background, just ambiance working on shit or just something playing in the background, I'll play that episode because like everything from the music they picked for that scene, the soft kind of light, like almost like dreamy jazz that's playing in the casino as well when they're like walking through and like they're scoping out the place. It's like that episode was just such a master class of just like combining right music, right time, and right dialogue. Like just it's chef's kiss. Just
Man. But and one more time before we move on, you mentioned games earlier, which I mean, like, like games are definitely media in a way that I think, like, I mean, like, we both understand, but a lot of people still don't look at games as like media and like stuff to be taken seriously, and it totally is. But like, talk to me about a couple, because I was gonna ask you later about some game shit anyway, because like it's all
Mhm.
incorporated with the music. But like,
Yeah.
give me a couple of those. It sounded like you were gonna talk about some game soundtracks or something. What about those?
Oh yeah, man. So there's this recent joint that I got into thanks to one of my homies, Prince. He recommended it to me like as soon as it dropped. There's a joint Shin Megami Tensei 5, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's like this super it's this beautifully done like JRPG, like, and it's like kind of like modern world, but also it combines post-apocalyptic elements with like, you know, typical like high school kid having to save Tokyo from like destruction at the hands of demons and shit. And like the way I had it explained to me, and it just made so much sense. It basically was like Pokemon, but just with like demons, like, and shit. And I was just like, the soundtrack of it though was just, it's just this very beautiful, like they have these very dark synth ballads and cuts, and then very bright and kind of like optimistic tracks as well. But it plays out like a movie. Like as I was like playing it, like it literally, I was like, this feels like I could sit and actually watch this, like, and like just have them like stitch the cutscenes together, and I just like sit and watch it like it's a
Right.
movie, which those are my guilty pleasures. Like I like watching like video games stitched together, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch the cutscenes, and like that'll be what I do for the night. So like, um, but yeah, like that game, as well as the Persona series that Atlas does too. The oh man, they I don't know. They just every time they just put their foot into the soundtrack. And that's how it felt with also like Sonic games. Like you literally mentioned at the start of this, like Sonic Adventure. And I always remember like playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and the
Yeah.
Knuckles stages. Like I was like, yo, what? Like these shits is hard.
I always
Like
I always wonder how the guy who did those Pumpkin Hill raps, I always wonder where he's at these days. Cause yeah.
yo, God bless
Special
him.
moments.
That man deserves. They need to bring, if he's still around and still doing like music, like they need to find a way to get my man's back onto like a soundtrack at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
not
yeah, bro. Those are, I'd say those definitely like were like, and I do got to give just a quick shout out to the new God of War too, because that joint, just the simple kind of like, and I always forget like the Nordic kind of like music that they pick to soundtrack everything. I'm like, this sounds just like some epic like movie style like shit. And just the way that obviously it's storyboarded, like it's meant to play almost like you're playing a movie almost. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
I'll wrap my rambling up with those three for sure. Like that.
I'm I'm happy you brought up God of War, because I'm playing through the 2018 one right now.
Mhm.
I'm about to beat the eighth Valkyrie. I'm going through the
Okay.
I'm going through the Niflheim maze right now, so I can go beat the
Yo,
eighth Valkyrie. Yeah. But yeah, nah,
let's
like, but yeah, like,
go.
yeah, man, God of War, yeah, God of War, beautiful soundtrack. Fucking Sonic games, beautiful
Mm.
soundtracks. What was the oh, why am I blanking on the name of the one that it was like the platformer that came out, like the old school ish Sonic game that had a really really great soundtrack. Sonic, not Sonic Rush,
Mm.
it's the one that came with you could play as the armadillo and the bee and shit.
Was it like when you could play as like a team almost?
No, no,
Like,
no, 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 that's Sonic
okay.
Heroes.
Yeah.
Let me see. Sonic 2D. Damn, why can't I remember what it's called?
I'm trying to think.
No, not
What
Sonic the
was that?
Hedgehog. It's it. Sonic Origins. That was it. It's Sonic
Hmm.
right? No, wait. No, 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 no. I'm lying again. Sonic Mania. There we go. Sonic Mania. Yeah,
Okay.
it came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm.
It was like a back to basics Sonic game. Really, really beautiful soundtrack. All those Sonic games have great soundtracks, but that one's That one might be my favorite that isn't Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Like,
Word.
yeah.
Nah, I gotta go back. I def gotta go back and play that now because I never played Sonic Mania, but like now it's got the bruh, it's got the CineMasai seal of approval, bruh. I'm a check
But
it out.
fucking you could probably buy Sonic Mania for like the price of a bag of chips at this point. So yeah, I
Oh, let's
definitely
go.
recommend it. I recommend it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
It's on every system too. But so yeah, for you growing up around all this music and all these movies and all these games, and deciding that you wanted to formally like step into making music on your own, like when did you first know that rap and making beats and shit like that would become more than just a hobby for you?
Y- Yeah, I mean, like I think it became more of just like more than just a hobby. I want to say when I was like 15, 16, because like I started, I was making beats and like I originally started out rapping, but I was like horrible as a rapper at like
Oh,
13, 14. But just like it's natural. Like you start out, anything you start out with, you're not going to be like the best at it right off rip. So I was just kind of like, all right, like, I can't be bad at also making beats. Like, there's got to be at least one or the other that I'm good at. And
right.
so it just kind of started to stick. I'd say really it started to stick when I was like 15. And actually one of my old homies who I used to make beats for, this dude, Ken Rebel, he's based out of like Brooklyn and was starting to get like some traction from like the Tumblr days of like dudes like, posting fits on Tumblr and everything of that nature. So it was like
Yeah.
that era that like I started like tapping in really with it. And he was just like, nah, like I really fuck with your beats. Like, like send me whatever you got and, we'll start to cook some shit up together. And that's when I really kind of started to take it seriously because that's when like people there was started to be like more of like a fan base and traction that started happening. And I was like, oh, people actually like the shit I make. That's kind of crazy. Like it's such a weird feeling when you like have people say like not in mass like, hey, this is dope. Like we fuck with this. And so yeah, I'd say like yeah, once I was like 15, 16, working with Ken and getting shit out with him, um, that's where I really noticed I was like, all right, like if I keep with this and I keep evolving and kind of just like being a student to, not only the individuals I look up to, but even my peers that are like to my left and my right, like I could really probably make some dope shit and kind of have my own little kind of like island oasis in the universe where people could come and they woefully want to pull up and vibe to my shit. So yeah, man, it was around that time.
That's hard. And the earliest project of yours I was able to find was the Waltz to Game Me project with fucking Sephiroth on the
Damn.
cover. And
Yo.
I don't remember exactly what year it was, but obviously, like your love of games and shit runs very deep. So like talk to me
Mm-hmm.
about talk to me about making that project and like or I said Sephiroth on the cover. That's the Cowboy Bebop shit.
Nah.
So like talk to me. So yeah, like talk to me about I mean like, we already talked about what Bebop
Mm-hmm.
means to you, but like what was it but like what made that project so special and like why Bebop to kind of construct an entire thing around?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would probably say like honestly, I think that was back around the time. Yeah, I think I was like, yeah, like 15, 16 at the time that I dropped that. And like um I think it was because like you're kind of going at that age you're at this weird kind of like nexus of like you're breaking out of being like a full-fledged like kid, but you're definitely far from being like an adult, so to speak. So you're trying to find that even ground of like what's my maturity level, like what's cool, what's not cool for me to like be into or do or whatever. And I just remember like watching Bebop at that age and like getting it, like just being like, oh shit, like I understand a lot of the themes and a lot of the real life shit that they depict on the show. And I was like, huh, like that's really cool. I'd like to make like almost like a soundtrack of like if I like, you know, did a rendition of Bebop or if I was a part of some type of like spin-off or side series of Bebop or something like that. And I think that's where Waltz to Ganymede kind of came. It was like me kind of creating my own soundtracks for stuff that I really loved and stuff that I really like grew up with an appreciation for or was finding a deeper appreciation for. So, yeah, no, it's kind of like my little ode and my little tribute to the series and all that it did for me with like understanding life shit. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's so ill to me because, like as your career goes on, you see that you kind of take that core idea of like appreciation and tribute and just like putting it toward so many different anime and video game related things that I'm going to get into specifics in a second, but like I just like because like you're not the only producer who kind of has an affinity for that thing. And
Mm-hmm.
like between you, yeah, like there's people like you and Knowledge and Brain Orchestra and Popstar
Mm-hmm.
Benny and fucking Wolf Morpheus. Like I could sit here and name names all day, but like like there, but like I feel like games and anime have this really special relationship within the producer community more than
Mm-hmm.
anything. And just like I guess just as a producer yourself, like why do like why do you think y'all gravitate toward that shit the way that you do? It's always been something I've wanted to ask somebody, you
Yeah.
know?
Damn. Yeah, bro, that's a good ass question, bro. Like honestly, I think it's just like I know for me, it's just like I think a lot of producers like and it obviously varies from person to person, but from what I've noticed with a lot of producer homies, like we all have very like wildly active imaginations. Like and I think it's like something that when we watch certain things and certain mediums, especially like anime and like video game culture and stuff like that, we kind of get so immersed into it, we start to envision ourselves like, what would it be like to live in that universe, or what would I be
Yeah.
doing like in those scenarios? So like for me, I think it's just an appreciation for the fact that it's just a camaraderie, you know what I mean? Like the people making a lot of these like trippy animations and just like these powerful storylines, like they have, I think, sort of, I almost say like I would always say to my mom, it's like this thing of like knowing you have a couple screws loose, but you don't want them tightened. Like you're like, I actually like this.
Hmm.
Like it's kind of like that. But I definitely think like to put like a button on it, it's the sheer kind of creativity. It's like world building almost. Like I think when you're a producer, you're kind of going through stitching things together and you're creating this universe for someone to step into, whether it be only for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, however long you choose to make a beat. Like once they kind of come in, it's on some like Jujutsu Kaisen shit. It's like, all right, this is my domain expansion. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
stepping in the you yeah, bro, like you stepping into my house and like, we gonna show you how we rock. And so yeah, because I think that's just this larger than life thing that's ingrained in a lot of us, like just creating our own world for people to step into.
Right. Yeah, because like that's what y'all do. Like y'all create worlds. I
Like
was gonna I was I was gonna ask you this way later, but since we already jumped there, like, it's just like y'all have so much more power, like as producers, like y'all have so much more power and influence over songs than I feel like I mean like like it's a pretty obvious thing that everybody talks
mhm.
about, but just like y'all don't get the credit you deserve, like as producers a lot of the time, like unless you're like a big household name, like a fucking Metro Boomin or Ninth
Yep.
Wonder or Knowledge again, like, and just like, like what it's it can be really difficult to broach like what you can do to fix that. But,
Hmm.
like you have people who appreciate what you do, and it could always be more. But like
Yeah.
what do like what do you feel would need to change in order for producers of all stripes to just like start getting the credit they deserve? And like just like in general, I don't know,
Hmm.
it's just a yeah.
Oh man. I mean, I think I think for me personally, damn, you ask good ass fucking questions.
Thank you.
Um, I definitely think it's like including producers And I mean, there's a variety of people that also definitely need love too, like producers, engineers,
Engineers too,
like
yeah.
everybody that's like behind the scene. I almost say like it's almost like Santa's workshop. Everybody like the elves behind the scenes, like yo, they need PTO too. You know what I'm saying? Like they need some paid
Facts.
time off as well. You know what I'm saying? So but like I definitely think having producers more in conversations for like I think like even rollout strategies and just like marketing things of that nature, like that's really where I think like shit will start to really change once like I think like labels or collectives like start to, and even like artists like singer songwriters and rappers and stuff like start to be like, yo, well, what do you think we should do for the promo of this, and how should we promote it in a form of unison? Because a lot of producers have like dope ass ideas. A lot of us are sometimes like, like the graphic designer behind the project, the
Yeah.
photographer behind the project. You know what I mean? So a lot of us are wearing like multiple hats that can benefit like the whole kind of like situation if we're just like brought into the fray more as far as like I'd say the promo and kind of like the marketing kind of route. Um, so I think in my mind, like that's really where like if you really like start to tap in with what people are doing for their releases as producers. Um, and I think too it's a matter of like I saw a good clip of like Tyler the Creator, and he was talking about promoting his work, like and really like being like, yo, I'm not just gonna drop some shit and then be like, all right, like I promoted for a week and then like that's done. He's just like, yo, I worked hard on this shit. Like this is my fucking baby. Like
Right.
I'm not about to just let it die after a couple months. Like, no, like, and it's rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like when we put our hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears into a project, I think that's something that we should continue to celebrate and herald. You know what I'm saying? Like for months at a time. Like not like just drop it and then like we on to the next thing. But
Right.
everybody has their own workflow. So I don't want to say that to like shit on people that do that. But like
Right. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Yeah. Nah, I get what you mean. Cause like that's what I love so much about Metro Boomin's rollout for his last project was like the whole like let's just like make all the guests look like comic book characters. Like
that
that was really dope. Like what Knowledge does with like all the tapes that he makes on Twitch, and then he just
mm-hmm,
like and then he'll like stream and play Street Fighter and just like play beats. Like that's great. Fucking like the shit that you do with S rank slaps, like that.
well,
Yeah, like the way you put all the like the way you put those covers and just like that whole campaign together with like the memory cards and shit, like that's great. And yeah, like you said it, but like obviously it extends to more than just producers. It's engineers, mixing and
mm-hmm,
mastering, fucking just like like if you're the type of person who needs session musicians and the people who supply like the fucking beat packs and fucking like the
mm-hmm,
actual sample packs that people are pulling from to sample from. Like
yep.
there's like so many different facets of behind the scenes music work that a lot of people don't think about. And even if you do think about it, it's more just like they're just there. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, like these are like people like y'all who make the beats and people who like fucking edit and make the beats presentable, for lack of a better
Yeah.
word. Like it's like a whole process that, like you said, it really is like a workshop with like 8 different hands going into one song,
Yep.
especially on like a big level. It's just, but then you
Mm-hmm.
have but and then there's like people on a smaller level who will like rap the song, produce it, and mix and master the whole thing themselves. Like them people are even more special, because like being able to do all four of those things is like, yeah. But either
Bruh.
way, like, yeah.
It's a thing I bow down to, because there's a lot of people that I like. There are a lot of people that are my peers and that are my homies that like operate just in a space when they roll something out. There's so much like imagination and so much just like creativity that's like behind it, and that's where I just feel like it's like, yeah, like, and there's a lot of people that's not afraid to like try like different shit in terms of how to like promote something or like how to get the word out. So I think that's really just a matter of like, I think for a lot of producers it's really just kind of dedicating to like, yeah, carve the time out to make the music, and if you that's what you really like to do, definitely do it. But also just, you know, treating the work with respect, like really saying to people, yo, like this is my art and I want to make sure I present it in a way where it's like preserved. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's really how I feel.
So in that, or with that being said, talk to me about the idea of S rank slaps and like where it
Hmm.
came from to like, like for people who don't know what that terminology means, what is a S rank?
Yeah.
I know
Oh
what it is, but
man.
tell
Yup.
everybody else. Like,
All right. So basically, if you ever played like a lot of like Japanese like fighting games, mission oriented games like RPGs, JRPGs, like the ranking system in Japan for in those games, it's like obviously it goes from a scale of like D all the way to it's like D, C, B, and A rankings. And then you have S, which is considered the highest like rank that you can get on like a mission or like a storyline completion or anything like that. So basically like S rank slaps for me just kind of means like, you know, figuring my own self out and my own shit out to where I'm being like the best form of myself, the S rank version in a sense. And putting out music that I feel is S rank and representative of like this journey that I've been on. Cause I really like I started the series at a time where I think like I just didn't really have any like direction creatively at the time. Like, you know, I was kind of in a weird like limbo state in just life. Like I wasn't like it's almost like a thing of like you're not doing worse, you're not doing any worse, but you're not doing any better. You're kind of just in this gray area. So like yeah, so I pretty much like started to work on music again and I was just like, all right, let me just like take it slow, start from scratch, like not go in with any expectations and just start making shit. And so when I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is now like coming easier to me to like come up with concepts and to create a storyline and to really kind of be like, hey, like, why don't you just make a series like charting your own progression as a person and trying to be better than what you used to be? And that's how kind of S Rank Slaps came about, you know?
yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is the first one of your projects to get like a volume two or a sequel. I think is that true?
Yeah, so like I would say, I'm trying to think. Yeah, so this was like when I had other series that I started, and I was just like, for some reason, I didn't like continue with them. So there's ones I do want to revisit and like give more kind of shine to, and do like a volume two and a volume three for. But yeah, this was the first one that I really was like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with this because I feel like this is working, and also like this feels just more like me right now, like from the visuals I paired with everything to the beats to I was just like this feels like the right title to put everything under, especially for
Right.
my journey currently. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, nah. Yeah, just cuz like this like both those projects, sorry, I'm dealing with a walking cat who was walking all over my lap.
Oh,
Um
you're good,
um
bro.
but what's it called? Yeah, it's just like like listen, like spending last night and the last couple of nights re-listening to the S Rank Slaps projects and seeing how much you put into like how they look and just like how nostalgic and just like passionate the presentation of those two projects is. Just like looking at the physical CD you sent me and like how you made it look so much like the fucking old PlayStation discs, and how you kind of refashioned your face to look like a fucking like Final Fantasy cover, and like you have it written out in the Final Fantasy font,
Yeah.
I could tell you really fucking care, like not to say that you didn't care about the other shit, but like this is
Mm-hmm.
like like you really put your all into these, and the projects are so short. They're like 5-6 songs, and
Yep.
like you have the homie Silence on one of them too. Like
Yeah, the
it
goat.
was yeah, man. I just saw him not too long ago. I hope he's good. Shout out to Silence. But what's it called? Yeah, just like yeah, you just really put a lot of yourself into those more than any of your other projects, and and I don't know. I didn't really have like, well, yeah, I didn't really have a follow up to that. It just
Mhm.
shows that you care, You know, like
Yeah,
like I'm always
but
really interested when I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm always so interested to see when people will like start some series, but then they'll pick one up and have that be the volume two, and it's like, oh, you must like really give a shit about that one, you know, and
mhm.
like that's how S Rank Slaps feels to me, you know.
Yeah, yeah, man. Nah, I appreciate that, man, because it's like I just always like now, especially moving forward, like I just wanted to really make it so like I produce like something like that's very meaningful to myself, but that also people can kind of gravitate towards and be like, oh nah, I kind of fuck with this, you know what I mean? Like, and
Hmm.
they, can gravitate towards it equally as much as I kind of gravitate to it. Cause yeah, man, it's just like I like to make sure that people when people kind of like get something with me now, whether it be a project or visuals or whatever, like they know that there was like a lot of like a lot of love kind of baked into it. It wasn't something I wanted to just like throw together and be like, all right, here's some beats, like here you go. It's definitely making sure that they feel like it's almost like giving people a home cooked meal. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
that's like there's nothing better than like a home cooked meal sometimes. So yeah, man, I appreciate that, bro.
Oh man, no, of course. And on that note, there was one song specifically from earlier that I wanted to ask you about, and
Mhm.
it was fucking Together Forever, new Smack DVD from Stay Low Volume 1.
Yep.
And I just wanted to ask just about your relationship with Smack DVD and like why you felt so strongly about it to make a song, because like that song really does feel like some shit I might hear on a Smack DVD. And like for anybody listening who's a little too young for Smack DVDs, it's fucking basically just like very professional but also still slightly bootleg battle rap shit. Like it was some very like, if you know, it's like Smack DVDs were basically like the YouTube videos of their day. Like that,
Yep.
like people would trade those the way we trade YouTube links now. So what was it about Smack DVD that was so special to you that you felt you need to make a whole song about it?
Yeah, nah, that honestly, that comes from honestly like my older brother, because like he was someone who like obviously living in the house and being the youngest, like you kind of like learn in an environment where it's like you're picking up game from like who's kind of like ahead of you pretty much. So he
Mm-hmm.
would always he would always be playing like the Smack DVD, like different interviews and clips and stuff like that. Like as soon as we really like had a computer at the crib and like got access to YouTube and everything like that, like he started like putting me on to like that shit and like clips from like, and it was more like kind of like there was some like battles that I'd seen, but I'd more so be intrigued by like the interviews that were happening like on those DVDs and a little kind of just like talking clips and shit. And like so hearing people like Styles P talking, hearing people like Jadakiss talking, like then segueing that into listening to interviews like from Max B and shit like that. Like hearing that type of stuff, I was like, oh shit, like this is like it was dope to hear just how like raw and kind of gritty the conversations were, but you held on to like every single word that the person was saying. So it kind of got me into this mode. I was just like, well, these shits like it sounds like such like beautiful raw like archival type shit. And that's kind of like the sound I wanted to get for that track. And I was just like, once I heard the sample and like got the breaks with it and everything, I was like, oh, this sounds like one of them ones that like is ripped right off the fucking grainy tape and everything and CD. So
Mm-hmm.
that I had a lot of love for just like I think just the language, the lingo, like just the verbal kind of dialogue that was going on, because everybody sounded like it literally was like seeing a bunch of motherfuckers like when you go on like Tekken and you see all the characters you could select from. It was like a board of motherfuckers like that just all talking at once, and I was just like, this is hard. Like I like this. Like this is
Wow.
dope.
That's such a crazy way to put that. I love that image. And I asked because that's that might be it's what's one of my favorite songs you ever made. So I had to ask you about it because I just love the you don't really see as much like appreciation for Smack DVD stuff, which is
Hmm.
surprising, all things considered. Well, I mean, like there's reasons, like yeah, like battle rap could get like especially misogynistic and homophobic, and it's kind of hard to revisit some of that stuff. But
Yeah.
the general vibe and the general air is always just like, I don't know. I just love raw, like you said, archival shit like that, and that's really what that like I never owned any actual physical Smack DVDs myself, but
Hmm.
I'd seen enough clips and seen enough people with them to know, like, like that's history,
Yeah,
and you can't forget our
bro.
history type shit.
For for real, yo. Nah, you not even wrong. Like that's really what it is. And like you said, the subject matter a lot of the times and where it would go, you know, language wise, it's like, yeah, that's stuff that is definitely it definitely ain't flying like now. You know what I'm saying? But it's stuff that, like you said, it's kind of like documentation of like a time and an era that had that, you can kind of still pull it's like gritty and nice kind of chunks from, but and you can leave kind of like the proverbial fat behind, you know what I'm saying, and just like
Right?
let that
Yeah.
rock, you know.
No, totally. It's a process, but it's a necessary process.
Hmm.
And another necessary process. And the last thing I want to ask you before we formally wrap is, like you for a while, you ran your own newsletter,
Hmm.
called Thoughts Beyond The DAW. And it was something that I always really loved and appreciated seeing pop up, because there aren't, like I'm also always interested in seeing, like rappers, producers, and like musicians of all stripes kind of take up
Hmm.
writing, like as the people who are, like making the music. And like I'm interested in that in the same way that I'm interested seeing journalists kind of take up music, because there's plenty of people
Hmm.
who've done that. I love seeing that cross pollination happen. And like you would go over stuff that was going on in the scene. You would just talk
Hmm.
about like producer tips and technical stuff, and write about like the state of journalism, and kind of like we were talking about earlier with just like the state of being a producer, and like whether that's something that's fully appreciated. Like there's so many little bits and pieces and a lot of gems in there for a lot of for people who are serious about this to really take from it. And I guess
Hmm.
just like just because I'm curious, like what first inspired you to write? What first inspired you to put that newsletter together? What was the most satisfying aspect of writing that newsletter?
Hmm.
And just like did creating Thoughts Beyond the DAW give you more of an appreciation for the writing and the media side of this thing we call rap music?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta say, it all starts with the homie Gino, who runs this newsletter and publication called Microchop.
Shout out to Gino,
He
man. He's the best.
Yo, he's the
Gino's the
guy.
guy.
Bro, I love that man. That man is such a gem of a human being. Like, bless his heart and bless him. Like, so like it happened around the time where like there was some real kind of like shisty shit that kind of happened as far as like in the like hip hop kind of community. This was, dare I say the term, lo-fi hip hop. There was a big, there was a big kind of like scandal and shakeup that happened, and this was during like the when George Floyd was killed. So you already know, like niggas was in go mode from once that shit happened. So
Hmm.
like so basically there was some shiesty shit that happened with a label that like said they donated funds to like his fund when they really didn't, and then like I don't know where they're at now. I think they've kind of restructured and got the individual out that's like that did that shit. But basically Gino, he hit me up and was kind of just like, I did like a reel just talking about it, and like saying like, you know, I'm having my music taken off from them and, you know, taken down by them and everything, and like I'll re-upload it as my own. And Gino was just like, yo, like you should probably write like this shit out. Like you should probably start to like talk about what's going on. Like, and you could like basically being like a reporter for like the beat culture and beat community and educating people on like, you know, kind of like do's and don'ts, obviously, and like, you know, letting people know what's kind of happening in the scene. So that way they're more well informed about the culture we all kind of come from and embrace. So he was the one that kind of planted the seed, and he was like, yeah, like you can, you know, you can sign up for a Substack and set that up. And then, you know, that's free. You can get people, you can do paid subscriptions, or you can like make it totally free and let people just read up on what you're talking about. And so it just became like a good springboard for just like stuff that I'd even talk about with the homies. Like, you know, a lot of those conversations, you have these very deep, intense, but also thought provoking convos with, you know, people you're shooting the shit with. You could just be like drinking, smoking something, and you're having these great conversations. And it's just like, well, why don't we document these things? Because they're all things that like I'm sure other people are sitting around and discussing, you know, there's just a matter of distance. So why not have a place where I can talk about things in beat culture and stuff? And so yeah, that was definitely the spark and the jump off for me writing and doing all that stuff. Um I do need you to remind me the second question you asked, because I literally just like went on a rambling rant. I
No,
apologize.
you're good. No. I was just curious, like, what was the most satisfying aspect of putting all that together for you?
Oh yeah. So the most satisfying thing I think was just like being able to like have a voice beyond the music, because I think so many like, yeah, people are used to seeing me like post about like beats or post about like music and doing my promos for stuff and everything of that nature. But you know, they never really, maybe people don't always get like my thoughts on certain things or like hear from me. And I think it became like a real thing of like, oh, people actually like care about what I have to say. Like it was just wild, because you don't really, sometimes we're so in our own heads all the time, like we don't ever think like maybe we have like knowledge to give, or like knowledge that's of value to people. You know, it's a lot of selling ourselves short that happens in life. But it was one of those moments where once I started seeing people coming in and being like, no, like what you wrote about is like super important, and like we need to address this more in public spaces in the community, I was like, oh shit, like this, you know, is actually maybe helping people and maybe getting them to start conversations at tables that those combos were never being had at. You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
think I think the satisfying thing is just, yeah, like having people kind of like write to write to you and say like, when they read something you've written and say, I felt seen by that, or I felt like, you know, like you understood exactly where I was coming from writing that. I think that was probably the most kind of like satisfying and rewarding thing for me. Um, and it did make me appreciate the process a whole lot more for what music journalists do in general.
Right. Yeah, it's a because yeah, it's definitely a process, you know, like this is
Mm.
all you know, like we're all part of we're all part of the same community at the end of the day. Like this is all music, and we're all just kind of working different sides of it.
Yeah.
Whether you're actually making the music, or if you're like, you know, documenting culture, interviewing people, reviewing albums, you know, putting on for good shit that might not have a good platform otherwise, you know, just like
Yep.
doing all that. Like this is all, it's all connected, you know, like it's, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's, you know, it's not like it's, you know, it's not like it's fucking like all the musicians and all the fucking engineers and all the technical people on one side and then all the media people on the other side. Like we mingle with each other. A lot of us know each other. A lot of us are friends.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, but like, you know, like you know, like this shit is um it's just it's mutually beneficial. And
Mm-hmm.
I forget the opposite of what something that's beneficial is. I can't think of the word. I'm blanking right now, but it's whatever that is, you know, like it could be all of those things. And that's just the beauty of, you know, being involved in this music shit, the beauty and the curse of being involved in this music shit. And seeing you kind of take the initiative to do that was, I know you don't really do it very much anymore, and that's all good, you know, like people move on, but it was just cool to see that, you know, like I always love to see artists and people, you know, like I said earlier, like go out and kind of take up a
Mhm.
pen, or, you know, like, or, you know, like a writer or like a critic or some media person go and make themselves some music. You know, it's just nice to
Mhm.
have, you know, like that shit just helps you be a more well-rounded creative, I feel. So, you know, if you can handle it, it's tight.
Yeah, nah, bro. And like honestly, like I remember to like the last like just even jump into even like the question you asked too, like of like how it's helped me like learn like I guess like an appreciation, or has it helped an appreciation for like music journalism and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Like 100%, man. Like I mean, I tell people like doing the writing and actually going through the process of like, you know, kind of like being a scribe in a sense and writing those thoughts down and getting them out and crafting just like an article for people. Um, it's huge. Like it definitely taught me a lot more respect for like homies that are doing that type of work and are doing journalism as well, and just teaching, you know, just having respect for y'all's craft, as well as um having respect for like the craft and the art of writing, because I think a lot of people, that's why now like if I hit people up to try to like, you know, maybe have them listen to my stuff early, or like trying to get some type of love for publications or whatever, it's like there's such a respect now that I approach people's inboxes with. It's not some like, oh, yo, listen to my shit. Like, here you go. Da, 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 da. It's like, no, like now having done the work myself, it's legit just like watching someone craft a blade. And then it's like, okay, now I'm learning this process as well. And it's just like, oh, nah, this is like, there's an art and there's a very deep passion that, you know, that you're going to find, like if you're tapped in with the right people, you're going to find people that take that craft extremely seriously. There are some obviously that don't, but the ones that you gravitate towards, like, yeah, like it teaches you to really have like a newfound respect for them. And just like, yeah, man, now seeing being on that side of the coin, I was like, you know, you got to respect the penmanship, you know, that
Mhm.
deserves just as much respect as like, you know, as we demand for our music. The penmanship should also get that same respect when it's putting people onto your own stuff too.
Yeah, man, that it's so important to be able to put your own story into words and your own thoughts into words when you can, you know, and like, and then when you can't, that's what the music's for, you
Yep.
know, and
Exactly.
that's and you know, just circle of life type shit. And to bring this full circle, um, Radicule, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
Ooh, damn. I would I would say, yo, this is a damn. This is a good ass question. So can I get like trippy with it? Can I just like, is this like from my own imagination? Like,
Yeah. Sorry, I was drinking
okay.
water. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're good. Oh, you're good. Okay, so for me, and this is gonna sound like way out there, um, I would say if my life could be a movie, I would probably say the plot of it would be me and a gang of friends um fighting, and this is kind of like a plot I had for S-Ring Slaps, which is crazy. So I'm just like, all right, this would be fire. At least to me, it would be just me with a gang of friends. We live in this weird cyberpunk-esque world, and there's this evil force of vampires that also wear gold do-rags that are like trying to basically destroy the planet. And you know, we all just got a bunch of superpowers that all are sound related, and we just out here trying to save the world. And there's a little bit of Fast and Furious in it. There's a little bit of like cyberpunk um in there as well. And yeah, vampires, you know. So lots of explosions too on some Michael Bay shit. as well.
Yes. Yeah, fucking sci-fi fantasy action shit. That's fun.
Yep.
That's fun. I like that. You know, it's just like there's always got to be some goal to attain, even if it's just to crush the opposition. You know, you gotta do that sometimes. Life life can't always be peace and happiness. It should be like
Listen,
80% of the time if you can make it. But like,
yo, I mean, nah, facts. You know what I'm saying? We get to the end of the movie, and then we on our slice of life type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
but you know, we got a little bit of conflict, and then we get to the promised land.
Let's go. Nah, man, I love it. That's so good. You know, like balance and having both is always good to me, especially when it comes to a movie or anime or any sort of crazy shit. But yo, son, this is so great. Like,
Bro.
thank you so much for being like. I know we've been talking about this forever, but like, I don't know. It's just like it's always so special when I've been talking to somebody for some time about coming on the show, and then it actually happens and it turns out to just like be so loose and so fun. So thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do. You know, like you've been killing it for like 3 years at least, you know, like
Man, listen, I do want to say I gotta, hopefully I'm not doing three much, but I want to give you your flowers, bro, because you like have always been a fucking real one. Like being a avid listener and fan of not only your writing but also Real Notes as like it's progressed. Like, dude, you've had so many people that like you've put me onto musically through this show that I now fuck with heavy. Like, like there's so many people I like am blessed to have been able to be put onto through you and through this show and through whatever medium that you're interacting with or engaging with. So I thank you for having me, man. Like this was really like this was really like some bucket list shit. Like I was like, yo, I want to get on Real Notes. I'm not gonna get on him and be like, yo, I want to be on the episode. But like this was really something. I was just like, okay, if he asks me, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be like Steve Kerr coming off the bench for MJ. You know what I'm saying? Like,
damn, that's special, bro. That's so special. Wow. Thank you so much. That means the world, and I'm happy that we made it happen. I'm sorry I don't know enough about wrestling to actually talk about it because I kind of want to sometimes, but
bro,
yeah, nah, like
bro, you know it, bro. Listen, we just gotta get you hip. We gonna get you hip, bro. It just takes that one match. That's it.
Yeah, it might be time soon. I think it might be time soon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.